Welcome and welcome back to Rooted to Thrive, conversations that elevate our humanity podcast. It's your girl, your friend, Rochelle Peterson-Ansari, aka Professor P. Today, we have Jess Goldey, who's a former elementary educator, martial arts coach, and corporate insurance professional. And now Jess is a mindset coach for creatives and professionals who feel stuck. Now, Jess also hosts the Underwire podcast. She's going to have to tell us something about that name. And she's sharing honest stories about growth, struggle, and resilience. And get this, folks, Jess is a musician. She's a musician with ADHD who believes joy, curiosity, and authenticity are powerful tools for leadership and connection. Now, Jess and I met on our coaching, certification, and continuing education journeys, and we decided to meet in person and became fast friends. Jess, thank you for agreeing to have this conversation with me today. How are you doing?
Oh my goodness, Rochelle. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm doing really well. How are you doing today?
I am great, and great. But thank you for that. Now, before we get into our topic, self-awareness and curiosity as foundations for better leadership, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Okay. So, thank you, first of all, for that great introduction. I felt so hyped up just from that. But yeah, my name's Jess. I am a musician who comes from the punk and metal and hardcore scene. I am also a mindset coach and a podcast host, like Rochelle just mentioned. I have about 15 years of experience working in corporate and education and also in martial arts coaching as well. I have ADHD. I was diagnosed at a very young age, but didn't actually start learning about what that meant for me until later in life, which I'm sure we'll get into. And yeah, I help creatives and professionals remember what makes them happy, figure out what they want, and then take action to go and get it. And I feel like everything that I do centers around self-awareness, curiosity, and creating environments where people feel seen and understood.
Yes, that's fantastic. And we are about people being seen and
Right.
understood on this podcast, right?
Yeah.
And in all of our lives.
Hmm.
So tell us a little bit about how you got started in this work, because now you said that you were an educator, and I'm sad that we lost one of the good ones. And that you were in on the corporate scene as well,
Hmm.
and have served as a martial arts coach, but now a mindset coach.
Yeah.
How did you get involved in this work?
Oh, well, I feel like it's something that has been calling to me for so long, and I just ignored that inner calling because I
Mm,
knew it required a lot more from me that I was scared to I was scared. I was scared to tap into my full potential. I was scared of the responsibility that comes with the power of doing exactly what it is that I wanted to do, or the responsibility of being that person that helps other people. Like that's a huge responsibility. And that's really scary because, like, what happens if I say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing, even with the best intentions? Like, what happens if I screw somebody up and make a mistake? And just the overwhelming feelings of imposter syndrome and self-doubt took over until a point where in my corporate world, it got to a point where my inner soul's calling became so fucking loud. Am I allowed to curse? Am I allowed to curse on this? I have to keep my I'm a I've a I have to watch
Potty
that. So
mouth.
yeah. So I'll try to monitor myself, but it became so loud And what was going on at my job at the time made me so miserable. And I had such a bad experience with a boss that it was the thing that pushed me to finally give me the permission to lean into what I had been avoiding all this time. And the situation was awful. I felt absolutely terrible. You know, you hear the phrase Sunday scaries, and I feel like everybody has some sort of Sunday scaries going back to work, on Monday. This was way beyond that. It was a sense of dread where I would find myself on the floor crying, knowing I would have to go to work because I was dreading it. I truly had such a bad experience, and I loved the company I worked for. I love the people I worked with. But when you are paired with a boss or a someone in leadership who does not have your best interest at heart, it becomes really difficult to to thrive. And
Mm,
that's really what what it got to. And I'm so grateful for that experience, as terrible as it was, because that is what pushed me into what I'm doing now. And
yeah.
for the first time in my life, I'm doing what I truly feel passionate about that I've been so scared to do before because I was scared of being seen. I was scared of the responsibility. I was scared of failing or not living up to this potential that I felt like I had because it felt easier to stay in the comfort of what feels like certainty, right? Our corporate jobs tend to have those, we call them golden handcuffs, where they give us stability. And I'm putting stability in air quotes because it's a made up thing in the society. At any time, they could fire you.
Mhm.
They're not loyal to you. So now I get to create my own stability from a messy place. Like I'm learning how to be an entrepreneur. I'm in it with the core belief that I know that I'm going to be okay. And that for the first time in my life, I am trusting myself. And like, I can't rely on anybody else or any other thing or entity or job to provide my own stability. I need to provide that for myself. So that's
Mm,
how I got into coaching. I knew it was something that I always wanted to do. It's a role that I feel like I've played in many other different roles within my life. I've always been that friend that people go to lean on for moral and mental support. I love being a cheerleader for people. It lights me up to be supportive. Like I'm getting chills just talking about it. I
mhm,
love being supportive and encouraging to other people and seeing in them what they are unable to see within themselves.
mhm. And what it took was for you to trust in yourself
Yeah.
and get help to see yourself.
Yeah, which is
It's like a
still an
domino.
ongoing it's an
Right.
ongoing learning experience because trust me, I know that I sound super confident right now and so sure, and I am, but every single day I am faced with self-doubt and imposter syndrome and a new challenge that I have to talk myself through,
Mhm.
and that's okay.
And it is okay. Yes. And I just wanted to make this point, although the episode is not about this, you can be super skilled at your craft, right? You're a coach, you're dynamic. We do some peer coaching together, so I can vouch for you. The bottom line, though, is there's this other role, right? You are the founder and CEO of your company, and that is a different learning curve that you're on. Yes. And so there's so much that's new there coming from being at a job consistently that all of us have to learn. And we
Yes.
do begin We all begin somewhere. And just like riding a bike, yes, it's wobbly. It's wobbly at first, and we
Yes.
continue to do the work until it's less wobbly. And then
Yeah.
there's going to be something new that you learn, let me tell you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And that will cause you to go, oh, should I be doing this? And then, but the difference is you will stay in the game as long as I'm in your life.
Oh.
Yes, we will stay in the game because that's how we win.
That's
Yes,
right.
that's how
That's
we
right.
win.
That's right. And I appreciate you so much.
Same, same. Folks, when I tell you we became fast friends, you would have been amazed, right? I think we spent what, 2 hours
Yeah.
together? Like
hmm
time just went by so quickly. We didn't even eat and we were someplace where
Right.
we were supposed to be eating.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. We were just too busy chit-chatting, you know?
Yes, indeed. It was wonderful. All right. So let's start talking about more about your lived experience that brings insight into our topic today.
hmm
So, you've spoken about living with ADHD. So, that's adult deficit hyperactive disorder. I can't stand the word disorder, but according to some official DSM or something, that is considered a disorder. Um, how has that shaped your leadership, your communication, and the way you understand people?
Yeah. Oh, that's a, I feel like that's such a complex question. I feel like, well, firstly, I feel like learning about my own ADHD really helped me be an advocate, not just for myself, but for other people.
Mhm,
And I know that I had mentioned that I was diagnosed with ADHD at a young age,
mhm,
but I truly didn't understand what that meant until I was an adult. And it was probably a little bit around COVID that I actually started taking the time to learn more about myself, my needs, things that made sense to me to ask for accommodations for. Growing up in elementary school, through high school, even college, I could have gotten accommodations, like had an aide in the classroom in elementary school read my test questions to me. I could have sat in different rooms. But it all seemed so like I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed to ask for accommodations for myself. Nobody truly explained to me what having ADHD meant. I just felt like an outcast. And so I tried to push it down and suppress it and tried to just grin and bear it and do things like quote unquote neurotypicals like everybody else. And what happened was I would get in trouble a lot. I was told to sit down, be still, shut up, stop making so much noise. Why are you doing things that way? That has been my entire life. And it wasn't until a couple years ago, like 5, 6 years ago, I started actually learning about ADHD, what that meant for me, and then started making sense of everything else in my life and coming to terms with, oh, that was just normal for me. And it's okay for me to do things a little differently. And it's okay for me to ask for accommodations. Like, for instance, what I started asking for was even after COVID, when we were returning back to office, I asked for an accommodation to work from home because I learned that that was just a way better environment for me. There was less distraction. I was able to control what was around me, less sensory input, smells, noises, things that could easily distract me were eliminated by me being able to work from home. Um, just little things like that. Over the ear noise canceling headphones are huge. I started becoming more aware of all sorts of sensory things that would dysregulate my nervous system and I wasn't previously aware of that would lead to outbursts or just meltdowns. All of these things I just wasn't aware of previously. So going back to your question, going around in a circle, how does that impact the world around me or leadership or showing up as a coach or in my podcast is that I understand that especially now to show up with curiosity around the person and not to jump to conclusions because I know in my own experiences that I wish people asked me or got curious about the things that I was doing instead of just ultimately assuming that I'm goofing off or I'm not serious about my work because that is me truly at my core. Like I have great work ethic, but I'm also a playful person, and that helps me get into my work and be creative. But your entire life, if you're told to stay in this box, don't do things a different way, then my programming is, oh, well, I can't trust myself now. So I'm unlearning that in all of the messiness that I'm doing as an entrepreneur, diving into this business, where I have to consistently remind myself and show up as a leader for myself to give myself a different mindset and reprogram my brain from you can't trust yourself, you can't trust your gut because everybody else has been telling you what you need to do or how to do it to, oh, I actually know what's best for me. So
Mm,
showing up to other people as a leader, as a coach, as a friend in life,
mm,
I think that having that mindset is really important. And understanding the person instead of just assuming that you know what's going on underneath the surface. I think the curiosity is really, really important and to understand that person from their own perspective instead of just pushing your own whatever agenda onto them.
mm. So I heard, wow, so that was a lot, right? Like that for us, like I'm thinking of myself as a leader, right? Like what I hear Jess saying is be curious about people, nurture what's in them so that they trust themselves. Like people are more comfortable
Hmm.
and thrive when they trust themselves. And
Yes.
we outsiders, others could do things, say things that actually chip away at that. And they
Yeah.
have to spend a lot of time and energy rebuilding themselves, right? And this
Yeah.
is a podcast about human dignity that strips someone of their human dignity when
Hmm.
they've learned to doubt themselves because of what has been said to them over and over again, particularly when it comes to literally who they are,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yes.
that, who they are. That's why I said I have an issue, right, around words like disorder, because nothing wrong with you. Nothing wrong with you.
That's right. There is nothing wrong with me.
Not a thing.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not atypical in the population. So, and it's interesting, right? Like that's how we're, I guess, conditioned in our society that something that is not atypical in our society, something's wrong with it. It's there's
Right.
a problem with it versus it's just different.
That's right. It's just different. And I would like to argue that I feel like neurodivergent people view the world in a better way, in a more creative way. So maybe it's the
Mm.
neurotypicals that got it wrong.
There are many neurotypical people who would agree with you. Um, not to, not to say one is better than the other, But as one person who, like, I find it refreshing, particularly when there are people who are on the autism spectrum.
Hmm.
When you have the inability to not to be dishonest, I just love that. I love it.
Yeah, I
It
same, same. We need more of that.
right.
People think that clarity and being direct, especially coming from a woman, if you are clear
Mhm.
and direct, you are too bossy or you're too aggressive, and it's like, oh, that makes yeah. We need, but if people could understand how to be more direct and more clear about their intentions or their expectations, we could all live happier lives.
Yes, be
You know,
direct,
don't
clear.
beat around the bush. Say what you mean. I don't want to have to decode what's going on in your brain. Life is hard enough. I don't want to do the emotional labor for myself and for you. You are a grown adult. Tell me how you
Mhm.
feel, please. And don't sugarcoat it. Like it's so refreshing when
Mhm.
people can be direct, clear, honest, and truthful. And it can be in a tasteful way. It doesn't have to be this blunt, awful, scary thing. You know, you can
Right.
do it. You can tell people the truth with grace and compassion.
Mhm. Yes, you
That's a
can.
skill. You can
Yes,
still
you
do.
can.
You can still
Yes,
do it.
you can learn it. That's right. So, talk to us a little bit more about curiosity over assumptions. So, in your view, what are the most damaging assumptions leaders make about the people they work with?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is from my own personal experience, and I'm going to go back to the
Mm,
assumption that because somebody is playful and likes to
mm,
have camaraderie or jokes around a lot, especially in the workplace professional setting, that it means that they're not serious about their work or that they have bad work ethic or that they are just slacking off because that
mm,
could not be further from the truth.
mhm.
Um, can you repeat the question? What was the
No,
question?
that was, yeah, you said what was, I asked what was the most damaging assumption.
Damaging. Okay.
Yeah, that leaders make about people
Oh,
they work with. And so you said, yeah, like it's making an assumption that people have a bad work ethic because they're playful and they like to joke around.
right. Another thing, I mean, I'm gonna just say things that have happened to me
Mhm,
personally. Another thing with me, and especially with neurodivergent people, I struggle with sometimes with my tone of voice or
mm,
with the way that my face looks when I'm thinking deeply or talking about something I'm passionate about, or when my nervous system feels a little dysregulated, or when I'm anxious. So, what would happen in the workplace is that time and time again, I mean, not even in the workplace, even in my personal life, I've had ex-boyfriends tell me like, "Oh, your tone of voice," or like, "Oh, the look on your face." And it's always when I'm talking about things that mean a lot to me
mhm,
that my tone is kind of, it could be monotone, or the look on my face looks like I'm just, have resting bitch face, or it's just
mhm,
not, it's not what other people want to see. Like you're
mhm,
walking down the street and you got some guy being all like, smile more. Like that's how I feel in my everyday life when I'm just trying to live. So
mhm.
that's really damaging because now I'm aware of that happening. So instead of me being present and focusing on the things that actually matter, like the words coming out of my mouth um and what I'm saying because it means a lot. I'm now focused on, well, does my face look like what you want me to look like? Am I fluctuating my tone to the way that you want it to be? And now I'm not saying the words that actually matter because I can't I only have enough so much brain capacity. So if I'm using all of that capacity masking and trying to be somebody that I know that you want me to be, this puppet, then I'm showing up inauthentically and I'm giving you half-assed answers.
Yeah. So it's interesting how you describe this, right? And, you particularly talked about neurodivergent people. You said, there are times when you're thinking deeply, dysregulated, anxious, and you have a look on your face that other people don't want to see. That was deep to
Yeah.
me, right? Like that it's a
Yeah.
look that other people don't want to see.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're feeling any of those things, your tone might be too monotone. So it's not the tone that people want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they have confronted that because it's about the assumption they're making related to that, right?
Right. Right.
And it's the damage that's done is that many people like you have, and I know many people I've coached, students that I've mentored, even myself, have masked,
Yeah.
right? And that is living in the world for other people's approval. That does not serve anyone well.
Sure does not.
Okay. I'm on that train right now.
Yeah. Oh, me, you and me both. We're choo
Okay.
choo choo. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Every single day, unlearning. I'm unlearning so much, and I'm sure you are too
Yes.
in this journey.
Hmm.
It's just unlearning, reprogramming every single day. It's just this constant. I have to keep repeating to myself, like I can trust myself. Like I'm safe. I'm good. I don't need to live that way anymore.
Yes. 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 Well, listen, let's talk about asking better questions
Okay.
and being curious, right?
Hmm.
You teach people to ask better questions. What makes a question powerful rather than performative?
Mm. What makes a question powerful rather than performative? I think when you ask a question
Hmm.
from your gut and not from your brain, I don't know how to explain it,
That
but
works for me.
yeah, yeah. When you're genuinely curious instead
Mhm.
of trying to act like you're this intellectual know-it-all, I think showing up with general curiosity is really important to a good question.
Mhm.
And that also takes a lot of reprogramming, right? Because we're taught in this society to just perform, to be puppets. So I think that that is an important part of asking a good question is just be genuinely curious. Like we were when we were kids, and that's a huge part of my coaching too. It's like how can I get somebody back to revisit and explore that part of themselves that they've probably have buried so deeply that it's killing them and they don't even realize it. Because we
Mhm.
need that part of ourselves.
Right.
We need that child. That is what gives us senses of hope and wonder and that beautiful, beautiful curiosity that comes with this vibration and energy. Like just talking about it, it just makes me feel good. We need that. We need more of that. So, how would you
Yes.
ask a question as a 5-year-old?
Mm. Like, what is that?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, yeah, real basic, right?
Hmm.
Because of how their brains are developed at that point, it would be real basic.
Yeah,
Or, yes, their sense of wonder because they're seeing things for the first time.
yeah, yeah. People, I feel like, get annoyed with people asking them questions. And I think that it's just
Mhm.
such a missed opportunity because when we ask people questions and we get curious about them, it allows for connection.
Yes, it does.
And, I love when people are passionate about literally anything and they just go on and on about it. It could be it could be about a video game, it could be about a guitar they just bought, it could be about mowing the lawn. But if somebody is talking about something in a passionate way, it makes me feel excited because that feeling is so important and so genuine. And again, as adults, we forget to access those types of feelings of passion and joy and excitement. And I just
Yeah,
love hearing all about it. I could just sit there for hours and just listen to somebody talk about what they're passionate about. I don't care what it is.
what it is, right? And you know what, Jess? I think there's some room for that curiosity, even when it's something you're like, even if they're not passionate.
Yeah.
But I think if a person is taking the time to share something with me, it could be about something that happened at work, on their, throughout their day,
Hmm.
something that they are trying to express to me, right?
Yeah.
There's a reason why they want to share it. So
Yes.
just be curious about that.
Yeah. That's such a good point. They want to share it with you. Like
Mhm.
any time that somebody is sharing something with you or even brings up a little fact or anything about their day, it's a bid for connection.
Mhm.
And the way that somebody else responds to that to me is like, are you a red flag or a green flag? You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's important for all types of relationships. I think we talk about it more in our intimate and family relationships,
Yeah.
but what we forget is that at work as well, in the community, we're in
Absolutely.
relationship. We're in
Absolutely.
relationship everywhere we go.
Right. Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. It could be something as simple as going for a walk with a friend, a coworker, significant other. It doesn't matter the person. It could be a family member going for a walk and you notice something. I'm that type of person that's like, ooh, a flower, ooh, a bird, ooh, a squirrel. Like, look, look, look. And I just love everything. But if I see a flower and the person that I'm walking with and I go, oh my God, look how beautiful this flower is. And I make a big deal about it. And their response is like, yeah, so what? I don't want them in my life. Get out. No, thank you.
Mhm.
I don't have time for your energy. That's that tells me everything I need to know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think curiosity it's important to be shown up in that way too. If somebody is telling you if they want to share something with you that's coming from the inside and your response is I don't care, then
Right,
you're showing me all I need to know. So thank you for
right.
that.
Yeah, and that actually chips away at people. And sure, we can strengthen ourselves personally to not be affected, but you're caught off guard when that happens. And if it happens pretty regularly, it can wear a person down,
100%.
or they are using a lot of extra energy to ward it off. And
Yeah.
so you said, listen, I don't need that in my life. But when where you are in relationship to that person is tied to your livelihood, you
Yeah.
can't get away from it. So
Yeah.
it makes it more important for especially leaders and anyone we are co-creating, co-working with to understand how we have an impact on other people.
100%.
Yeah. I mean, I,
Yeah.
I got checked years ago. I was supervising. I had a pretty large team. There were probably about 15 staff members. And when I had a challenge, I would go in my office and close it. I would get very quiet.
Okay.
So when I would come out of the office, I was still quiet. And I remember
Okay.
one of the staff members, she was probably a younger person on the team at the time. And she said, when you're having a bad day, I'm having one too. I didn't
Oh,
get it. I was like, I mean, I didn't get it at the time.
yeah.
Right. And then we did more living and growing to understand just how much that matters. Right.
Yeah.
Everybody is influenced, especially by the leader. And I'm
Hmm.
and I'm at that point thinking, well, I'm not saying anything. I'm not speaking rough because I'm not saying anything. But it's
Hmm.
the fact that I'm not saying anything. They
Right.
could, they could see it
Yeah.
on my face. So it's a double-edged sword
Right.
because I related to a lot of what you just said
Hmm.
earlier about your face, about the tone, and all of those things that we have in common, and I'm a human being as well. But as a leader,
Hmm.
I have a different kind of responsibility because there is assumed influence on other people.
Right. Yeah. And I think along with that,
Mhm.
as a leader, I think that such a huge strength in leadership is the ability to be vulnerable and show up to your team as a leader with that vulnerability, because that is scary, right? But it shows that you're human and that you want to connect and that you are understanding your people on their level and that you're not above them. Like as a leader, I don't want to feel like anybody is above me. I want to feel like they're in it with me, and being able to
Mm,
show up with vulnerability and be like, "Hey, you know what? I'm a person. I'm having a bad day. It has nothing to do with you, but I just want to talk about it. Like let's communicate. Like I want to be vulnerable with you." Like that makes me, as if I'm somebody on the team that you are leading, that makes me want to work harder
mm,
and help support you in any way that I can, you know?
yes. Yeah, so show up vulnerable. I love
Yeah.
that. But, and that brings me to some of the practical integration of what we've been talking about today.
Yeah.
I'm curious for that leader who wants to lead with more empathy, but feels overwhelmed and under resourced. Where do they start?
Well, I don't,
Mm,
I'm not sure I know. I think that
mm,
if I if I were asking that question to myself, where I
mhm,
would start is with
mhm.
self-reflection.
Okay.
What do I need? What do I need to learn more about? What things feel unsure? All of those things. I need to figure out myself as a person before I can figure out
Mm.
anything else.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And I would dare say, I mean, I think you shared some of the framework, right? If we are going through life seeking, like being curious, right? We're being curious, we're learning something. I hear you saying start with yourself. But in order to have empathy, right, which is kind of putting yourself in someone else's shoes, we can be curious about other people as well. And I'm just thinking about that person who's under resourced, right? Like they're
Yeah.
overwhelmed and under resourced. That means everybody else is too,
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
that's a real issue. That's a real challenge.
Yes. And I'm thinking I might, in that situation, different than what I did 20, it might have been 30 years ago now, over 20 years ago now. Um, I would potentially pull the team together
Hmm.
and in a vulnerable state, share that I feel the overwhelm. I'm
Yeah.
feeling under resourced, which also puts more pressure on you. Let's put our heads together.
Yeah. I think
Let's
that's
put our heads together, but with two things in mind: getting the work done, but also taking care of ourselves first.
yeah, that's a great
Yeah,
strategy.
so we can get the work done.
Right. That's a great
And
strategy.
And what can we take off our plate? Like, really, what is
Right.
actually the simplest thing that needs to get done so that we can reserve our energy for something innovative
Yeah. Yep.
with our small, mighty teams?
Yeah. I think that is a great solution to
Mm,
something, you can't control everything, especially like resources.
right.
If you're under-resourced and understaffed, like you might not be able to control that, but you can control exactly what you said. Let me show up vulnerable to my team and communicate with them, because
Mhm.
that's really all you need to show up as a human.
Show up as a human.
To
I love
show
that.
up as a human. People respect that.
Yes, yes, they do. And we were talking about this earlier about, podcasts to edit or not edit. And we were just talking about the fact that people really connect with people when they just show up as they normally would,
Yeah.
right? We are going to repeat our words. We are going to stutter sometimes. We're going to try to be searching for the right word and
Yes.
pause. That's normal human behavior. And that's why
Hmm.
people connect with us. Too polished, right? With my little
Yeah.
perfectionist friend that I keep her over there, right? Too polished doesn't do what we're trying to do.
Right.
We want this to be shared and shared and shared across the globe
Hmm.
so that it reaches those people who need it.
Yeah.
Yes. So we need to show up as humans. Man, if I had known that in my 20s, man, I literally would have had such a different life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
It's hard.
folks, yes, and folks, those of you now you heard Jess talk earlier that she spent 15 years, as a professional before she started doing the coaching, right? Those of you who can see her on one platform see what I see, right? When I first saw her, I thought she was like 20 years old.
Oh my gosh, I
Now
am.
she would have had to be 15. She would have had to be 5 when she started working
That's
to
right.
be 20 years old. But
That's right.
I'm like, look at, all right now. That, yes, right. So with the hands under the chin, the innocent, playful one. And, it's so interesting because little things like that can lead people to have assumptions about us, right?
Hmm.
Like people make an assumption about your age,
Hmm.
based on how you look, and then put all this other weight on top of you.
Yeah.
That is so unnecessary. Well, Jess, let's close this out.
Okay.
Yes, what is one practice rooted in self-awareness and or curiosity that listeners can try today and actually feel a difference?
Ooh. I would say if there's one thing, I would say to just be mindful, be aware of your own assumptions or
Mm,
your unconscious biases, to just be aware of them. Because if you're not aware, then I don't think that you can really make a change, but you need to be aware of them first. So I would say start there.
thank you. Yes. And as you know, that is so in my wheelhouse.
Yes,
So,
I do. Yes, I do.
yeah. So, one of the things that I do and I share with other people, and that is, to get at what's unconscious. It's like, well, how do I do that? Like, how do I get there? Well, there is, just assume, I will say assume something, right? Assume that there's something that you're not seeing.
Right.
Assume that there's something in my blind spot, in,
Hmm.
in your blind spot. So the first thing you have to ask yourself is, what am I missing? Where can I get help to see what I'm missing? Because you're missing something,
Right. Yeah.
you know? Um, I think that solidified when I had an early professional experience where I had this epiphany um, of a blind spot I was in. And listen, I'm doing social justice work. I'm working on behalf of groups that are marginalized. And one day, it just, I think that the news headlines were about people who are gay getting the right to have health care for their partner. Blew my mind that I work on behalf of those very people, and that was in a blind spot for me.
Yeah.
I initially, who I was at that time, I experienced some shame around that. Like, how could you not know, Rochelle? Well, because I don't know everything.
That's right, because you're a human.
Right, right.
You're a human, but the difference is that you are willing to
Yeah.
learn and you're willing to challenge your own
Hmm.
thoughts and beliefs and grow. I
Hmm.
think that that's such a huge strength also to be able to be like, you know what, I used to think this or I used to not know this, but now because of what I know, what I've learned about, I can change my opinion. You don't
That's
have to
right.
be, an opinion can just be, it can be
Hmm.
changed at any time,
At
you know?
any time, a
Yeah.
perspective can be
That's
changed.
exactly it. That's so important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's why some of us do this work, right? Because
Yeah.
we know what's possible.
Right.
And in order to have what we know is possible, you need to have that kind of growth mindset.
Yeah.
Well,
Hmm.
Jess, I want to thank you.
Thank
Thank you for
you.
spending time with me in the Rooted to Thrive tribe.
Of course.
Yes. Tell us how people can find you after this episode.
Oh my goodness. You can find me on Instagram at The Underwire Official. You can also find my podcast, The Underwire Podcast, on all streaming platforms, on Spotify, on Apple Music, on Alexa Podcasts. And yeah, if you find me, make sure you give me a follow and check it out. Send me a DM if it
All
interests
right.
you. Yeah.
Yes. And I will say only positive DMs.
Right.
And
That's it.
yes.
I'm only accepting positive DMs.
Positive, right? We can ask the coach a question.
Right.
But yes, keep it positive. Well, thank you again, Jess, for reminding us that leadership and life isn't about having all the right answers. It's
Hmm.
about knowing ourselves well enough to stay open, curious, and connected. And to everyone listening, people thrive when they feel understood. Try one small practice this week. Pause before you react. Ask a real question. Ask a question of yourself. And most importantly, choose connection. If you choose connection, you'll find it. I personally am actually practicing choosing joy, and I found it in some difficult situations recently. So when I tell you this works, folks, it works. Those tiny shifts change relationships, teams, and cultures. Thank you all for stopping by and listening to the end. And if you haven't already, subscribe and share this episode. I deeply appreciate all of you. And until next time, lead with awareness, curiosity, and lead in a way that makes people feel seen.